Welcome back. Okay, welcome again. So now today we want to start from where we start, which was we were doing something about uh Power BI last time. So now let's just load our Power BI. So let's try to load our Power BI. So I want to search for Power BI. Yeah. So it's loading. Okay, it's loading already. So we all know the process of data analysis are five, right? You have the loading of data, that is the data collection. Then the second one is what transform data or data cleaning. And I know we must have had a lot of a long time on Power Query. By now we should be familiar with what Power Query is and how we can use Power Query for data transformation. Then after data transformation, the next thing is what analyzing the data. Then after analyzing, the next thing is visualizing the data. The last thing is documentation. And I know by now you should have done the five phases of data analysis by just finishing just that one project you've done. Now the second project, the second one we want to do now is Power BI. Now Power BI is like all in one tool because you can actually get your data from you can actually do getting your data uh transformation of your data, that is data cleaning, data analyzing your data, and data visualization. You can do everything in Power BI also. So it's very similar to Excel. So, and the knowledge is very transferable. Now, you want to click on bank logbook because you can actually click on any of these. You will know, okay, I want to get my data from Excel in Power BI. So now let's just click on bank report. So this is our landing page. It is our canvas. This is our workspace, right? And I'm by now you should be very familiar with this. So because you have a long way to go, I'll just go there. I want to get a data, right? I already know my data is CSV file, so I'll be clicking on the CSV option. So it is this for data set here. So I've downloaded this. I'll send it immediately after this class. Please, after are you on the call? Please, can you remind me after this class? So I will send it. Yeah. So now let's load it. I've clicked on it, then it is connecting now. So it is loading. So I know we must have various well time on Power Query. So the next thing is it will show me the preview of my data set. Where I want to load this directly inside my Power BI, that is, I'm expecting this particular data set to be cleaned already, or I want to transform it. I want to do the second process of data analysis. Obviously, it is advisable that I click on transform data. That is the second process because I don't want any confusion when I start analyzing. So I want to click on transform data set. Then it will lead us to what? Um, it will lead us to Power Query Editor. I know we should be very familiar with this. So today we just do some little transformation. Then in case you don't know how to clean data sets, be very assured data cleaning is sweet, but it can be tasking. But Power Query make it um make it enjoyable. So the first thing is this ID, as I've already said, ID, we don't use ID for analysis, and this is almost how many data sets? I can see I'm expecting this should be like 10,000 rows. Yeah, I guess should be like 10,000 rows of data. So we have because we have 10,000 rows and like 20 columns. So I want to delete this one because we don't need this is just an ID. So we have our report date. We can see here that this is actually a date. You can see we have our data type here. This is a date. You can see we have ABC here. That's a text. If you look at another one, let me try to scroll. So you can see something like 1, 2, 3. That means this is a numeric data type. So that's what those numbers mean. And if you look something like calendar, that means this is a date, this is a date. So we have our report date, we have our investigation date. So how do we do this? How do we solve this problem? There's no problem there, but this is an analysis. So I want to know what can I do? I'm coming. Let me check something. Um Okay, this is what I want to print. It's actually there. So now we have the report date and investigation date. This is a fraud data set in case I have not explained it to you. You all know that what is fraud is, right? Fraud is just the fraudulent activity or unauthorized access to someone's finance, someone's money, property, all those stuff like that. So that's what we want to do. Now the report date, what happened? So the report date that is this the day the complaint was made. It was made on March. How is this making sense? If the investigation is 11/1/2023, then 12/3/2023 is when it is being reported. Um okay. If it's 12, that's December 1. It is actually a mistake. But this is a dummy data set, right? So we did not get ourselves to it. We can see this is actually supposed to be. If it is made in June, 6 is June, then investigation start after 2 months. That's like August, this is August. But if the report is by December, investigation start by November. Okay, this is a dummy data set, like it's not a real data set, which is why we have this particular error there. So what I'm trying to do is I want to do investigation minus report. I want to know how many days it take them before they can start investigation. So I want to click on add column, click on this day, then I can see something like subtract date. So I can see I have minus, which is not supposed to be so. You know what I will do? Because this way, I'm expecting them to, yeah, we have all these numbers. So I want to remove wherever we have minus there. I want to remove it. I want to remove it. So I'll just click on transform here. Click on this column header, this subtraction header. So then I'll click on what I want to click on replace value. How am I replacing? Whenever I have, so in a way I'm trying to balance it that investigation should be after reports. It should not be the other way. So it should not be a negative number. So whenever we have a negative sign, it tells you to put nothing. That's why I will be asking, what are we replacing it with? Nothing. Enter a number value. Okay. Let me change it to text first. Okay, so now let's go to transform, replace value. What are we replacing? Then we are replacing it with nothing. Then I want to click on OK. So all the negative sign have gone. So I can replace this one to all number again. So now we don't have any negative number there. So I can, instead of subtraction, I can just say this between report and investigation. Let me just say R and R. So that's report and investigation. So that's good. So we don't have any negative there. Now let's go to the first column again. There's actually lots we have to clean. So we are done with this already. So once you look at this, let's click at the drop down. Do we have any stuff to do? And let's look at this thing. You have ATM skimming, you have ATM skimming, you have bank transfer form. That is, you can see everything is repeating in twice, right? Which is something you don't want. You want ATM skimming, whatever ATM skimming is, you want it to be ATM skimming. Now, how do you correct this type of information? Let me click on it. So what we are trying to do, what we ought to do now is there's something we call training. So this ATM scheme and ATM scheme, they look the same, they are the same words and stuff. But this particular thing, it may be after I'm done with it. It may be after I'm done with this G, right? I put an extra space, just like an empty space, by pressing my space bar. So if I should count this now, if I should count this number of words, it will not be ATM, that's 3. This empty space is 4. Then SKIM, that's 4, that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now, after this G, I'm now adding an empty space. That's what? That's an empty, that would make this one a 14 letters word, then this one a 13 letters word, if there is no empty space after it. So, how do we remove those empty space? There's something we call tree. We want to go there. Once you look at your own tab, do you have anything like trim there? I don't think we have trim here, but under our transform, there's a way, sorry, I think it should be, I'm sorry, um, format, yeah, trim. So you want to click on trim. So can you see, remove leading, let me click, sorry, screen, look at the drop down there. Remove leading or trailing white spaces from each space, from each cell in the selected column. That is, I want to remove all the empty spaces there. So I just want to click on trim. So if you click on trim now, you can see we have trim text here. So you can click on this drop down. Now you can see we have them in just singular in a unique value. Now we have only one ATM scheme. That means the ATM scheme, the other ATM scheme must have been and extra spaces have been must have been added to that ATM scheme. The other one we saw the other time. So let's load more. Let's see if that's everything. You can see that's everything now. Everything is now a unique value, which is correct, which is good. Now let's click on the states. What how many states do we have? We have Abuja, Kano. Then we have three types of Lagos. We have Lagos in all capital, Lagos in all small letter, and Lagos in sentence case. So I want to change Lagos in all capital to Lagos in sentence case, Lagos in all small letter to Lagos in sentence case. So let's do something like replace value, obviously. So what are we trying to replace? Whenever we have the Lagos in all capital state, all capital letter, replace them with what? Sentence case, that is proper case. Sorry. Right. So okay. So click on it again because we want to do for all small letter also. Whenever you have all small letter, replace it with sentence case, that is proper case. Click on OK. So once you click on the drop down again, so you can see you have Abuja, Kano, and Lagos. Everything is correct now. So now let's look at the amount and the fraudulent amount accrued. So now we have number. Actually, this is supposed to be a number, but now you can see we have it in text type, and you can see we have 44,000. Let's say this is in naira or in dollars. Uh, because this is Nigerian, you can see this is Nigerian state. Obviously, this is a naira stuff. So you want to say 44,000 naira, but then there is no naira here. We have 71,754 naira here. So you want to remove all this NG and I want to remove it. I want to um make this a numerical data type. So let's click on making it numerical data type by converting it to whole number. So we can see we have some error because there's NGN at the back of this. So to actually remove this one, I can just click on stuff like this. So let's have on do the process I did the other time. So what do I want to do now? I want to remove this particular column. Right. So what can I do? I can do split column actually. Right. I'm going to split it. So it is space. Now if you look at it here, well, after the number, we had a space before we can write engine. If engine will be added, right? So my delimiter will be what space. Then I can just say let's move the delimiter. Then click on OK. So it is loading. Let's look at it. So we can see this has been corrected to what engine already. Then this one is the engine, which you don't need. You can just click on it. Then press on the delete press the delete button on your keyboard. So we have the amount here. So instead of amount one, you can change this one to what? To word amount, right? So we have let's move on. So we have our transaction date, right? So I don't know what transaction date is supposed to mean here, but let's move on. So let's move on. So let's click on that drop down. Is there anything we are ought to clean? We have 1/5/2023. We have 5/1/2023. 1/5 mean words. Let's say that's day. This is 1st of January. Then this is what? 1st of 5th. This is 5th May. May. Okay, we can clean this one. So let's replace value. Whenever we see Never we see something like 5th May, 5th May 2023. The place it to 5 5 because May is 5 now, 2023. Click on OK. So we can see we have our OK. So the next thing is case status. Click on the case status, then we have everything is looking good. Now let's look at the investigation outcome. So we want to click on the drop down there. So we have not recovered, we have recovered funds, we have recovered funds, we have recovered funds. Now it is either your money has been recovered or it is yet to be recovered. It is either it is not recovered or recovered funds. So I want to remove all this one in small letters and the one with that end with a Z. So how do we do this? We just click on the column header, click on replace value. What are we trying to do? We're trying to recover sorry the one is small letter, covered font. You want to do it with, you want to replace it with sentence space. So in this case now, this R is capital letter, then this one is good. Now let's check it. As it works. F that F is supposed to be a capital letter also. Okay, and that was my mistake. Okay, so now let's click on the face value. So this R should be in capital letter, this F should be in capital letter. Okay. Now let's do the same thing also. So instead of S, this one is Z. So let's do control B. So this one should be in capital letter. So capital letter. So, so now let's click at the drop down on the drop down. So we have not recovered, we have recovered funds. Okay, there is one with small letter F, the one with capital letter F. So now let's try to replace that one again. Okay. Want to replace it with the one that has capital letter F and capital letter F, right? So let's look at it now. Let's click on the drop down. So can we see it has been limited to true, which is what we want. So now let's get action click on. Let's click on the drop down. Let's look at it. First there. So we have the no in sentence case, that is in proper case. Then we have no in lower case, then yes in upper case, yes in lower case. So you want to do replace value there also. So now let's just go down. You are nearing the end. So this is actually an extensive data cleaning process. So by the time you watch this, I'm expecting you to have a great understanding about data cleaning. That will be very easy for you when you are doing a solo project, that is a project that you are doing on your own. In that case, it will be very easy because you already know how to go about everything. So you can see we are just trying to replace. So now we have no and yes now. So now let's move on. And let's go to the detection method. It looks cool. The ID, we don't actually need the ID. The victim age. So now we have 18 to, let's load more. I want to look at the range of the age of people being defrauded. So we have 18 to 69. So you can actually separate these into groups. You want to know if Gen Z, you can use anything. You want to know if the younger generation uh, are the one prone to want to fraudulent activity, that is, they are the one bearing the brunt of fraudulent activity, or the older generation. So you can want to separate this one. Now we have 18 to 69. So you can actually separate them to like this. You can separate them 18 to 30, then 30 to 50, right? Then 50 to 70. You know, let's just do that one. You click on your victim age, click on add column, click on conditional column here. So if it is less than or equals to, so this one will be age group. or victim age group. Let me just say victim age group, right? So you click on column name. I think it should be victim age. So if it is less than or equals to 30, please, if you are with me, can you reply with an emoji so I will know you are there with us? Mm, okay, so I want to say, let me just use Jensen. But you can use anything. There is no law that saying you must use Jensen. You can just use Jensen. So, thank you so much. I can see you guys are with me. So, less than or equals to 50. I want to use lemons. So, if it is not, if you are not Gen Z or millennial, then you will be Gen X. That will be older people. Right? Let's just say Gen. Let's click on OK. So they have been created here. So you just want to set the data type here to be text. So we have that there. Now let's move on. Victim ID, I think I'm here. Victim gender. Let's look at the gender. Do we have two gender or how many gender do we have? Sorry. We have me and me. This may be incomplete. Okay, that was good. That means nothing to clean in that particular column. So now let's look at the victim state. Looks cool, right? So let's look at the occupation. We have blank, that is empty space. Then so instead of blank, I don't want to see blank there. I want to see unknown. It's better I see unknown there than seeing a blank. So this blank, it is better I replace it than unknown. So how do I do that? I want to go to my transform or my own tab in this case. Let's just replace value. Or we are taking replace value. So whenever I see, I want empty blank. That's all blank, right? So I'm not writing anything, not even a space. I want to replace it with what's unknown. So click on OK. So you can see all this empty space now has now been filled with what's unknown. Now let's click on this. Then you can see we don't have any blank space now. We only have unknown. So that's good. So how much the amount lost here. So you can see it is in 123. That means it's good. Then the lost currency. So we only have NGN, that's Naira, Nigerian Naira. Then we have word method. Um, all those code, right? How it was being detected, right? Then fund recovered, recovery date, prosecution. Okay. Um, execution status, device ID. All this one we don't need this. Location. Okay. I guess we are done. Another thing you can do here is that we have recovery date. So I want to deduct this one, right? This recovery date. Remember, I've clicked on that column header. Then I'm holding my control. Then I'm clicking on report date. So I want to click on dates. Where is it? Add column dates. I want to know the number of days that are between that are yeah that are between the days I got my money and the day I reported. I'm not actually supposed to have a negative, which is why I will stop. I will just delete this particular column because there is a negative there. But in a way, if you're actually working as a data analyst, I want to know how many days it will cost. So I actually know if it is too far or if it is too near. So it can never be too near. If it is too far, how can we how can we solve that problem? So I want to stop that delete this one by clicking on delete on my keyboard because there is no negative there. There's a way I can go about it the way I did there. But yeah, I don't want to do that. So let's just click on close and apply. So everything is moving good now, everything is going well. So you can see there are pending changes in your query. So I want to load my data set into my um Power BI. So we just give it a minute and it is already loading. We just give it some minutes, some seconds, some seconds. So Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, it has loaded now. We've loaded our data set there. So let's check. Okay. Now let's click on the drop down there. Um, so we can just enlarge this. So we can see these are all the columns there, all the columns in our data set here. So we can see our data set. If I click on this table view, so I can see my data set in rows and columns. So it is still loading. It's about 10,050 rows. Can you see? Almost 10,000 rows of data. It's actually a lot of data. That's why it is a little bit lagging. It depends on the size of your laptop and the way Power BI is a bit too large. So also we have different charts. So I want to explain when do we use all these charts. But before I start explaining, I want to explain the difference between table and what and matrix. So if I click on table, you want to know what the table looks like the one I showed you. It will represent our value, our data in rows and columns. So this is what a table looks like. Can you see? If I click outside there and let's click on matrix, you can see it looks like they are the same, right? So the major difference between table and matrix is that can you see this one only you can only see there is a darker shade here, but in this case you have a darker shade here, darker shade here. So that means this one only have represent their data in one by one, my one by one. I think I'm right. Why this one can do it in one by two, one by three, one by four. So let's just say this one has a little bit advantage over this. This can represent more complex data than our table. So that's why it is preferable. Whenever you want to represent your data in table, you should use matrix. Right? You can actually use table. It depends on you. So to this chart, you will click on that particular chart, then you see a table dot there, then you can see something like remove this particular chart, and then it is gone. Now let's look at all these data stuff and data sets. Now, before we explain them, so we can see this particular visual. Yeah, this is a matrix, right? So in subsequent case, I'll be calling it a table because they have the same function. Now, this table, I can just drag something like this there. So now let's say word type. Let's look at this word type, right? So we have different type of word type. So now word type is an alphabetical text, right? So where is it? Word type here. So if you drag it to your column, to your rows, so just wait for it here. So we have something like this. So let's just click on this focus. So can you see we have all of them there. For add back to report, but I want to give it a number. Um, sorry, let me do it. I don't know why it's not. Let me look at it. Okay. Now let's give you a number to this one. So what do you want to do? You want to add this particular thing inside your values again. It's just like what we did there in Excel. So you want to click on this. You can see you want to add you want to get a value, but you can see it is just returning the number and the words. So you want to click on this particular drop down here, then click on count. So which is just like what we did in Excel, and which is why I said when you know how to operate Excel very well, it's very easy to operate Power BI as well. So click on this focus mode. You can see we have ATM scheme 1995 followed by transfer. So let's say you want to arrange this in ascending order. So once you go to this column area, can you see there is a drop up here, but there's a drop down here. So let's click on this drop down here. So it will actually arrange it in descending order. If you want to arrange it in ascending order, you want to click on that drop down again. So can you see 1976 followed by, but in this case, I actually want to I want to I want to arrange it in descending order. So I want to click on this drop down. So you can see online shopping scam is the most fraudulent way of getting money online. So we have online shopping scam. So you want to go to your back to your report. Now this is a report, right? This is a visual. But because this is a categorical data, what's the meaning of categorical data? We have tech data type here, then we have numerical data type here. This is a categorical data. So when you can represent your categorical data set with column charts or with bar charts. So this is an example of bar chart. This is an example of column chart. So we have different type of bar charts here. So it depends on your choice. So you can represent it with this one. Now this is a visual. So I can say I can decide that I don't want to use the table again. And I want to change it into what? Into a bar chart. Or I want to change it into a column chart. So we can change it into a column chart also, right? So but in this case I want to change it into what? Into a bar chart. But before then, let's just do Control Z, Control Z again. So this is what we call let me just so I double it. So this is my bar chart for it. So instead of doing something like that, I can do Control X. So do another page. So this is where my visual will be. Control V. So I want to create another table. So in a way I'm doing analysis. So this matrix is standing for pivot table. So now let's look at our data set again. We already know but now let's look at what state and what state does the most fraudulent activity, right? So you want to do something like that. Where is it? State, state. So we have our state here. Now let's just drag this one into a rows, then our state into values. So there is no number there. So once you click on this drop down, click on count. So let's click on focus mode. So you can actually see it. So let's click on this drop down. You can see Lagos is the most fraudulent. That means there are lots of fraudulent people. Sorry, I said boys. So sorry. Fraudulent people in Lagos, followed by Kano, followed by what, Abuja. So these are the criminals. These are where they are based in. A lot in Lagos, followed by Kano, followed by Abuja. So let's go back to report. Now let's just double this one, Control C, Control V. So now that I've doubled it, I want to change this back visual. I want to change it to a column chart. So I'm sorry, a normal column chart. Um, what's the column chart? So this is the normal column chart. What's happening? Column chart. Here times Control X. So let's go back to our visualization page. Let's click through. So let's click on our matrix again. So what else do we want? Let's say we want let's look at our data set. So there are quite a number of things we can do. So let's say we want to look at the state and the case status. Let's click on drop down. So we have open the sub under investigation. Once we look at that, so case status. So we have our case status here. So put this into rows, then another one into values. So click on the drop down, click on count. So you can actually just send this with donut charts, right? Because there are not a lot of data set there. So click on Control X, go back to your page, click on Control V. So if you can sense something, you can see you are actually creating a dashboard like that. Even though this is not the formatted way, right? You still format the chart, but at least you can sense something that okay, something is being created, right? So we are already done with three charts like that. So Let's look at another thing. Let's change this one to table. So we want to look at legal action taken. Sorry, let's look at the investigation outcome. How many funds have been recovered and how many have not been recovered? So let's do something like this. Where is this investigation outcome? Put it in rows. Also put it in the values. So obviously, once you click on the drop down, you want to click on counts. So then you extend this from Control C, Control C, Control V. Just that there will be an analysis page. That's why I'm doing Control C, Control V, right? So then I want to change this one to what? A do not start. Can you see? This one is um, quite easy than the one we did last time. So we want to paste it here, Control V. Write it on again. So let's go again. Let's go to our analysis page again. So let's click on our matrix. So let's go to our table again. So we want to look at the legal action taken. How many legal action have been taken? So legal action taken. So values. So when you click on the drop down, click on the count average now. So you click on Control C, Control V. So click on the payment title. So, let's figure out in this particular. So once you look at the detection method, what's the best way to detect these people? Is it by auditing our bank account or customer reporting or by flagging the accounts? You know, there are a lot of things. Once you look at there, that's detection method. So look at the detection method here. Um, I have to click on matrix first. Detection rules, detection values. So we click on counts. So we have our numbers already. So click on the drop down. Then we want to do Control C, Control V. So let's change this one to bar chart again. Right. So let's do Control X. Now, even though we've not do the wireframe, and by now I expect us to know what wireframe is. But you can easily see that this is actually a report. Like this is a dashboard, sorry. This is a dashboard. You can if you actually make it more professional, put the wireframe there, put the box they move there, then also we do some interesting things there, put some buttons there, put some icons, you know, they will be very, very, it will look so professional. But now, in a way, we already know what we are trying to do. Now, you can rename this one as a visualization. Let me just write VIZ. I use that my this page, that's my visualization page. Then you can say this one, analysis. I just double click on that, then you can change it to analysis. So, this will be stopping tonight, today. So, in a way, we've done three pages of data analysis now. Even we've done four. The first one is getting the data. I got the data from I got the data set from my laptop because I've downloaded it. Right? So that's the first thing. Then the second thing is that transform the data, which I explain explicitly various ways on how to clean data sets. Then after that one, we did analysis, which is the one we are using our matrix, standing for pivot table in Excel. Then that's the third process. Then the last process, which is the fourth process, is the visualization. Even though it is not looking professional yet, right? But we have done professional, we have done four processes in under an hour. So that means if you are a professional, instead of using that much hour, you can just solve a business problem in just you can start from you can do all the process of data analysis in 3 hours or less. Do you understand what was taught, what is being taught today, and what was taught today now before we call it a day? So if you understand everything, can you reply with an emoji? Okay. Thank you so much. For only one girl.
Well understood, sir.
So okay.
Well,
So I'll send
well
the
understood, sir.
recording. You're welcome, sir. So this is actually a project. These will be our second project. Remember, we did one guided project on Excel. So we over the week, as we go on, we try to make this more professional and we actually do our project. So it is actually advisable that we start immediately the challenge is to so it will not be overwhelming like the last one. So this will be the part one. Then we'll do part two, probably part three. So yeah, have a good day everyone. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Charlie from